Hi, friends. Welcome back to a new episode of Off the Cuff. This week we're doing Season of the Witch. I'm sorry these have been a little slow to come out. I've gotten crazy busy with all the stuff I'm doing for work and all that other stuff, family, all the fun stuff. So hopefully we're going to get back to doing these a little bit more consistently. No video for this one. My camera's been acting up and it's been driving me bonkers when I look at it to edit it. So I figure try and get one out for you guys. We'll just do audio this time. So like I said, we're going to do Season of the Witch. This one, I was really surprised how low of a review score it got, both as critics and the audience score. It's 11% critic score, 31% audience score. I actually really liked this movie when I watched it, and I don't mean that it was it should have won Oscars or anything like that, but it was good and it was entertaining, and I think it was a lot better than the scores indicate. So let's take a look and see what they got going on here. We'll start with the critics scores and we'll go from there. This one from Brian Eggert. It's an insulting piece of genre fluff that feels conceived by Dungeons and Dragons aficionados and executed with the sophistication of a hack and slash video game. Huh. I don't agree. I think there's a little more to it than that. I guess I don't know if it's like it basically is coming off as saying like, oh, it's really amateur is what it sounds like. And I disagree. I think specifically the dynamic between Ron Perlman and Nicolas Cage's characters are really good in this movie, and overall the action is pretty good, and the story the story makes sense. And I don't know, maybe it was just too high of expectations. This movie came out in 2011, so um I don't know why the review is so bad, because again, I think it's really well done for what it is. Not saying I'd give it, and to be clear, I'm not saying it's a 10 out of 10. I would probably give it like a 6 or 6.5, 7, somewhere in there. So no, not the best thing ever, but far and away from a 1 out of 4 that Brian Eggert gave it. Next one is Mike Massey from Gone with the Twins. Doesn't aim very high, which at least allows it to accomplish what it sets out to do. 4 out of 10. So if that's the review, and there's again, obviously there's the full reviews that I don't go into. I just go into like the little blurbs. But if it doesn't aim very high and it allows it to accomplish what it sets out to do, then why give it a 4 out of 10? Why not give it a 6? Like, why, you know, in the American grading system, why wouldn't you give it a C, which would be like 70%, or somewhere to 70, 75, depending on where you're looking at? Because that's what I would do. It's entertaining. There's good dialogue. It does what it sets out to do, just like, or it accomplishes what it sets out to do. What he's saying here. I don't understand. I don't understand the hate. Richard Probst from The Independent Critic. The best thing that can be said about Season of the Witch is that this season ends in 98 minutes and I never have to live through it again. 1 out of 4. I just don't like. I would say that the short, like, just speaking to how short it is, it does everything it sets out to do and it doesn't add any extra stuff. Sometimes when you get into these, especially these, Middle Ages or medieval movies, they really go whole hog on everything. Like they go too far, or they try and add too much stuff. So this movie definitely doesn't do that. All right, here's a positive one from Grant Watson from Fiction Machine. More than a little silly, but it does have a decent enough entertainment value for its target audience. You'll know if you're in that audience. Yeah, again, just like the one before, it goes out and sets out what it wants to do. It's entertaining. It's entertainment. It's not going crazy and over the top and trying too hard. Do one more here from the critics, and then we can move on to the audience ones, because I think those are always a little bit more interesting. This one from Kiko Martinez of the San Antonio Current. The anticlimactic scenes all lead up to an inevitable CGI-heavy showdown, good versus evil, featuring a clan of grotesque zombie monks and a winged demon as realistic as the one Eddie Murphy jacks up in The Golden Child. D-. I will say the CG is a little rough for this movie, especially near the end. It doesn't look great when the demon is walking around and doing stuff, but that all being said, it still does a good enough job for what it's doing. And I think everyone understands watching this movie. It didn't have this big epic budget or anything like that. It does, it's more about the character interaction and specifically Nicolas Cage and Ron Perlman's characters interacting. And then, the story that goes with it, but it's more character interaction than the visual effects in this movie. All right, so let's scooch on over to the audience scores, which again was a 31%. And as usual, looking at the first few reviews, it's a lot of positives. I'm seeing like the first ones that pop up here is 4-star, 3.5, 3, 4, 3.5, 3.5. I know I like focusing on the negative ones most of the time, but let's do Greg C. did a 4-star. Ignore the critics. The movie is a masterpiece. It introduces the two main characters as champions that have their faith in man broken, but never in each other or God. The journey builds up to the final battle with scenes that show thoughtfulness and character development done perfectly. I wouldn't call this movie a masterpiece in that regard, but Greg hits a lot of good points here. They hold faith with each other. They they stick together through all the bad that they have to deal with at the beginning of the movie, and their interactions are gold. I think it's easily the best part. Nicolas Cage and Ron Perlman are easily the best part of this movie. This one from Renee, a 4-star. A great ride, great suspense, great ending, moral gray areas, don't believe the hate. I would agree with that. Don't buy into all the hate reviews. I think I know I say this a lot for off the cuff, but it really is about expectations. So it's like, what do you really expect coming into this movie? This one from Lucian is a 1.5. I truly have to wonder how a movie such as this with Ron Perlman and Nicolas Cage could fail so poorly. These roles look as though they were tailor-made. These roles look as though they were tailor-made specifically for these two actors, but somehow the story itself was flat. Some have called it slow-paced, but my God, snails move faster. I actually don't think the pace of this movie is that bad at all. It moves at a pretty decent clip. And I would agree with the beginning part. I think the writers writing Ron Perlman and Nicolas Cage's characters really did a good job with that. And they bounce off of each other really well throughout this whole movie. This one from Red Bill, 3-star. Not as bad as the reviews made it. When the story was ambiguous, that is where the movie should have been. The ending is trash. I had no problem with the American accents. My favorite recent period movie, The Last Duel, had American accents. It also has a quality cast. Foy as the witch, Stephen Graham as the scoundrel, obviously Cage and Perlman. Yeah, again, I think the cast overall did a really, really good job. And yeah, it's not nearly as bad as all the reviews make it out to be. Okay, here's a 1-star from Jeremy. Awful in so many ways. Too cheap to function as a blockbuster, too slow to enjoy as popcorn, too dull to work as camp. Throws away the pairing of Cage and Perlman, and is really ultimately unsure thematically if it endorses or opposes the idea that one should burn witches. If it excels in any way, perhaps it's the movie that wins the coveted niche award of perhaps the dumbest thing on the intellectual tree of the Seventh Seal. It somehow feels an hour longer than this. interesting. I mean, I understand it's like cheap, meaning the CGI is not, it doesn't look great. Um, I think, again, this idea that it's too slow, I think is really interesting because I don't think it actually moves at that slow of a pace. It moves at a decent enough clip. Um, yeah, I don't know. Throws away the pairing of Cage and Pearlman. I mean, I disagree. They both still do an excellent job in their roles, and they, again, I've said it before, but easily the best part of this movie is Nicolas Cage and Ron Perlman interactions. This one from Terry, 2.5 stars. Just an adequate way to pass time. That's fair. It's not. It's not. Again, not the greatest thing on the planet, but it's certainly better than a lot of the critic reviews say that it is. All right, let's see. Let's find one more. See if we can get another good, interesting one. Because all of these are starting to look the same here as I'm scrolling down. There's a great review that's way too long for me to read out, but it's basically saying that the 10% critic score, 11% critic score is nonsense. Let's see. Star from Anonymous. Surprisingly fun as a disposable medieval fantasy buddy road movie. Knights, demon, wolves, winged devils, oh my. Some great locations too. Yeah, again, overall, I think it just has it. You know, maybe it's nothing to write home about, but it's certainly not bad, and you're there for the interaction between Nicolas Cage and Ron Perlman easily. Like that, I'll I know I've said it 1,000 times in this video, but they are the reason to watch this movie, and they do a great job. They are a reason to watch this movie, and I don't think it deserves quite as much hate as all the reviews seem to give it. All right, well, I think we'll call it there, just because everything is starting to look the same, and it's taking me longer and longer to scroll to scroll down to see something different. Thank you all so much for watching. Want to give a quick shout out to our Diamonds in the Rough over on Patreon. If you wanted to support the channel either as a free or paid member, you can head on over. Link is in the description. Um, Otherwise, yeah, like I said, I really appreciate you all watching. Please leave comments, like the video, subscribe if you're not already, and yeah, if you have suggestions for movies, feel free to comment in any of the videos. I always read the comments, and I'm always looking for good ideas to try and say nice things about quote unquote bad movies. So thank you all so much for watching, and as always, I hope I see you in the next one.